from the Highline up to Central Park, down to Greenwich Village, off to Staten Island and the 9/11 Memorial and everything in between. Here are 10 New York City highlights that you can't miss. Hi, I'm Michael, and together with my wife Marty, we are Linky Lifestyle. We're going to take you on a journey through the best 10 things to see in New York City. 10 things, we've been there 10 times, and on each one of our 10 trips, we've picked a highlight, and we're going to go through each of them today. Let's jump right in. First up is the Highline. This elevated park, museum, restaurant, walkway is just fantastic. The Highline runs from Gansevoort Street in the Meatpacking District all the way up to 34th Street at Hudson Yards, and it's just a wonderful walk. We've walked it many times, and every time we've been on it, it's a different experience, whether you're walking north to south or south to north. It's always something different to see. One of our favourite parts is the architecture. You walk through and around intriguing and interesting architecture all along the line, and it's just a fantastic experience. There's exhibits, different statues, different art installations, always surprising around the corner. You'll see something different that you haven't seen before. So it's well worth 1, 2, 3, 4 visits. We generally visit every time we've been to New York. Our favourite part though is grabbing some chocolate milk. Ronnybrook, of course. That's our favourite chocolate milk in New York. We grab a muffin or a donut and we just stroll. We'll put some photos up so you can see what it's like. It varies with the seasons, beautiful and green and lush in summer, beautiful autumnal colours during the fall, and in winter it's fairly stark. You want to make sure that you've got a coat, hat and gloves because it's elevated, it can get windy and can get icy. I think the last time we walked there in 2023 it was -3 degrees. We still had a fantastic time, we still enjoyed ourselves because we were prepared. We rugged up, we knew what we were going to experience in terms of the weather, and we got out there and we just walked, grabbed the hot chocolate instead of a cold chocolate milk that day, and we just enjoyed walking for about an hour. Next up is Greenwich Village. We love walking around the village. Cafes, artworks, street art, just fantastic. And of course, Washington Square Park and Washington Square Arch. That's actually where Fifth Avenue starts. So you can start a walk up Fifth Avenue if you wanted from Greenwich Village and work your way all the way up past and through Central Park up to Museum Mile, if you choose to. It's a bit of a long walk. We've done it, but it's fantastic. The village, some really cool things to do. Stop into New York University and see a statue of a Picasso artwork, Silhouette. Fantastic, really interesting piece of artwork as you walk through the grounds of New York University. One of the key things that I enjoy is architecture. I'm really into my architectural photography, and there's some wonderful examples in that area in Greenwich Village. And I'll put some photos up and we can check out some photos and the specific architecture at the time around the village. But get down to the village, spend a day, shop, sightsee, eat, drink, and just a wonderful area to really experience that really central part of New York. Next on the list is the 9/11 Memorial and 9/11 Museum. This is a powerful reminder of that fateful day, September 11, 2001, when the World Trade Centers were destroyed by terrorists. But today, it's a vibrant area that matches the enormity of that situation with the vibrancy of New York, and remembering and paying respect to everyone who was involved in that, but also allowing the city to grow and evolve. So spend some time there. We walk around the reflecting ponds during the day or in the evening, very haunting in the evening with the ponds and the lights around the two reflecting ponds. And of course the museum underground. It's a really moving and powerful tribute to that day in New York and the world's history. So get down to that area and experience the whole area, the fantastic skyscrapers, the fantastic Oculus, the memorial and the museum are really moments that you can spend some time in New York and reflect. Next on the list is the Statue of Liberty, or as we like to say, the free Staten Island Ferry. Don't worry about paying to get to the Statue of Liberty unless you want to go to Liberty Island and experience it and go up the statue. That's a once in a lifetime experience. Marty and I did that in a summer in 2011. Really hot but enjoyable. Every other year now we just catch the Staten Island Ferry. Gives you a great view of the statue, great view of the harbour, great view looking back at Manhattan. Just a fantastic way to do it, and it's all free. It's a really cool experience to do, especially as the sun is setting. You get some really beautiful photo opportunities of the skyline. You get beautiful opportunities to photograph the Statue of Liberty and all the boats and all the activity going on the river. So think about catching the Staten Island Ferry for free and having a really cool afternoon and enjoy some time not only in Manhattan but also Staten Island and all the sites in between. The next on our list of favourite places to visit is the Met, or the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Irrespective of what type of art you're into, whether it's ancient Egyptian, Roman, Greek, English, American, it's all there for you to look at. European artworks, European statues. It's fantastic. You could spend 2, 3, 4 days there. Millions of exhibits, hundreds of different areas to explore and see. One of the tricks that we use is we join and become a member of the Met. There's an entrance away from the main entrance that allows you to get in very quickly. You beat all the crowds, and you only have to visit twice to cover the cost of membership. So if you're in New York for a week or 2 weeks, it's a really good way to see the Met and go up there a couple of times, because it can be overwhelming. As you know, Marty is autistic, she's neurodiverse, and I'm vision impaired. So big museums and big exhibits are very tiring for us. So we join, we become a member, and we visit 2 or 3 times, and we do it in small stints. So we might see the Egyptian exhibit or the Roman exhibit, or we might walk through the American Hall, and we only do one of those on any given time. And then we sit in the many cafes and enjoy an afternoon tea or a lunch whilst we're there. So it's a really good way to experience the Met, and it's a good way to see what new exhibits are on and what new and interesting things we can see and do, as well as revisiting some of our favourites. My favourite is, of course, the Egyptian Hall. The Temple of Denda is fantastic. It's just an awe-inspiring hall to go into, coupled with all the other Egyptian artefacts. So really exciting part of visiting New York. And I've been into Egyptian mythology and history for 30, 40 years. And in fact, for my 60th birthday coming up in a year's or so time, we're actually going to Egypt. Watch out for those videos, like and subscribe now, so that when we put those videos up in 12 months time, they'll be available for you to check out. But a really exciting time for us over the next 12 or 18 months. Next is what I call the world's largest outdoor museum. 141 statues over 843 acres. Just a fantastic place to spend an afternoon, a day, a couple of days. Of course, I'm talking about Central Park. You can enter at 59th, 77th, or 80th, or 86th, or 110th. Doesn't matter where you enter. You've got 50 blocks of parkland across 4 avenues. So it runs from 59th to 110th Street, and from 5th Avenue to 8th Avenue. Just a massive oasis. You can stand in the sheep meadow where the scene from Wall Street was filmed. You could walk through the Ramble. You could visit any one of the 140 statues there, whether it's Hans Christian Andersen, whether it's Still Hunt, whether it's one of the literary giants of the modern era. They're all there for you to see, and you can just pick and choose where you want to go and see and visit. You might be a fan of the Beatles, so you might go to the Imagine area, the memorial to John Lennon, which is across the road from the Dakota Hotel, where he was sadly shot on my birthday, coincidentally. Avoid some of the street hawkers and the sellers there. There's a lot going on. You can get sidetracked by some of that, but if you're into it and you're interested in it, by all means, participate, enjoy. There's always a lot going on. There's people selling paintings, there's musicians, there's street performers. It's a really fantastic and vibrant place to get to and visit. And every time we're in New York, we at least go probably twice. One of my favourite things to do is photograph. The park is always changing. I've been there when it snowed. I've been there in the height of summer. I've been there in autumn, and I've got some fantastic photos. We'll put some of those photos up and you can check out the different sites and the changing look of Central Park. But it has to be on your list if you ever get to New York. Are you a fan of the Broadway show Hamilton? I know I am. In addition to the stage show are the wonderful sites around New York. The first one is Hamilton Grange, where Hamilton built a house. The second Hamilton site is Trinity Church. As I mentioned earlier, it's very close to the 9/11 memorial, so you can probably capture that the same day. But outside Trinity Church is a graveyard, and in that graveyard is Hamilton's grave, buried next to Eliza, his wife. So a fantastic piece of history right there in the centre of New York, sat there for a couple of 100 years. Go and check it out, and again, think about the work that Hamilton did and the way he changed the American economy, the American banking system, and he's forever remembered for some of those deeds. The third part of Hamilton, of course, is Wall Street, just thinking about the banking sector and what Hamilton did for the US economy and the US banking sector. So walking through Wall Street, you can see things like the Charging Bull, you can see Fearless Girl, fantastic photo opportunity of Fearless Girl outside the stock exchange, and of course the statue of George Washington in that area as well. Of course, walking around that area is a fantastic way to spend an afternoon. The cobblestone streets, the Federal Reserve, the stock exchange, the statues. It's just a really great part of New York, and it takes you back to the days of the city when it was being developed and starting to grow and develop as the banking and financial sector of the world. Another part of exploring Hamilton's New York is in New Jersey. It's actually not in New York at all. It's across at Weehawken. Just catch the bus across from Manhattan to Weehawken and you can walk through Hamilton Park. And this is where Hamilton was shot by Aaron Burr. Again, you could spend an hour or 2 hours just walking and enjoying the park. But again, it's a way to sit and reflect on the development of the city and the work that Hamilton did and the tragic early end to his life, which occurred in Weehawken. Next up is a Broadway show. We all love a Broadway show. And there's so much to experience on Broadway. Whether it's a musical, whether it's a drama, whether it's an offbeat comedy, or it's just a stand-up comedian. There's so much to see and do on Broadway. And there's a whole heap of tricks and tips that you can use to get tickets. We'll put a couple of links below, some of our favourite ticket sites to get tickets to shows. And we've paid anything from $300, $400 face value down to $20 for a ticket, depending on the show and the time that you buy it. So a couple of things you need to do is obviously plan ahead. If you want to see one of the really big shows like Hamilton, you do need to book in advance and grab some tickets. There's lotteries often for those shows and you can go into a lottery, but you've got to be lucky to win the lottery in the week or 2 weeks that you're in New York. We've never won the lottery and I've been in the lottery since 2015 when the show started. Other shows we've seen, we've worked with friends and they've secured tickets through us. We've joined New York Broadway newsletter sites. And we've got friends in New York as well that provide us advice and guidance getting tickets and securing the best tickets to some of the really cool shows. So lots of different ways to get tickets. If seeing a Broadway show isn't for you, but you still want to experience Broadway, visit the Broadway Museum. Maybe you don't want to see a show or you don't want to incur the expense of a show, but you still want to experience Broadway. Just head into the Broadway Museum. Century located in Broadway, we'll put a link below. It's a wonderful museum. You see plenty of costumes and plenty of props from a whole host of very popular and very well-known shows. We spent a good 2 or 3 hours there, lots of posters. You can experience shows and listen to shows and see shows. And there's a great chronological order feature that takes you through the eras of Broadway and the development of Broadway to where it is today. If a Broadway show's not for you, make sure you check out the Broadway Museum. Something a little bit out of the way on the Lower East Side in Orchard Street is the Tenement Museum. We really experienced that the day we went, and it takes you back 200 years ago to how people were living and experiencing New York. Thousands of people living in these tiny units across 5-6 story buildings in squalid conditions sometimes, but these were the backbone of New York, the immigrants that helped build the city to where it is today. And it's a really good way to experience that different side of New York. We're all familiar with the Gilded Age and high society in New York, but sometimes we're not familiar with some of the darker side or the less social side or the less wealthy side. I've heard about the Vanderbilts and people like that. But the Tenement Museum is a different look and a different feel around New York. It's the real heart and soul, the real guts of New York and how New York was built. A visit to the Tenement Museum is a critical part of understanding that New York. So you get all stories or all aspects of the development and all stories behind the development of the city. And we really enjoyed our couple of hours there. The 10th and final stop on our favourite parts of New York is of course the Natural History Museum. Probably my favourite place to visit. I've been into dinosaurs. I'm a 12-year-old sometimes when it comes to dinosaurs, and I love my dinosaurs. Marty affectionately calls it the dead zoo, because whenever you're up there, that's all you're looking at is bones of dead animals. So it's fantastic. You can trace the history and evolution of the earth through the exhibits there, the development of the dinosaurs, the development of man. And if you're into science, if you're into nature, if you're into ocean life, it's all there for you to see. I think there's something like 33 million specimens in the museum. Now, they're obviously not all on display, but there's tens of thousands of things on display, and you could easily spend a couple of days there. There's the Butterfly Hall, there's an IMAX theatre, there's cafes. It's just a wonderful way to spend a day or two there. If you've got a family, you've got kids, can be tiring, can be overwhelming. Again, Marty's autistic, I'm vision impaired, so these type of experiences can be difficult for us. So we might visit and just focus on one specific part of it, but it's a fantastic place. No visit to New York would be complete without a visit to the Natural History Museum. So there you have it, 10 must-do activities in New York. Each one of them are a highlight within itself. We'll be making videos on each one of those specific things this year when we visit New York, and we'll put those videos up in November and December this year for you to see in greater detail each of those 10. But today was a bit of a snapshot into the top 10 things to do when you're visiting New York next time. If you've got another favourite, drop us a comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the links below. And each one of the sites that we visited, I've put a link in, so it's easy for you to find. easy for you to get any additional information or book a tour or book accommodation around a specific exhibit that you're interested in. So enjoy those 10 sites, enjoy looking at our other videos, and I really appreciate you watching and helping us grow our channel. Thanks very much. Bye for now.